News 4 Jax starts right now with a breaking news alert.
New images just released within the past 30 minutes showing a man holding a knife in a busy convenience store. Moments later, he got into a standoff with police and was killed. We learned a lot of new information within the past hour from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office about this morning's police shooting. It happened at the Gate gas station on Emerson Street, just west of I-95. Now here's another look at those surveillance images. JSO identified the man who was killed as Jerry Moreno. Firefighters called police for help because they got a report of an armed combative man in the store. Well, protocol is for firefighters not to enter the building until police arrive. Now here's a look at video from Sky 4 over the scene. Officer Richard Santoro told the man to drop the knife and get on the ground, but investigators say he refused and turned towards Santoro, still holding the knife. Gate employees evacuated the store when the incident began.
When the police officer initially confronts him, the suspect has a knife. He takes the knife and he places it in the front right pocket with the blade still open. Police also gave him several commands to get down on the ground. As the suspect went down to the ground, he stood back up and he reached into his pocket, pulled out the knife, made a movement towards the officer with the knife. The police officer fired his weapon 6 times at the suspect, striking him in the torso.
Well, Officer Santoro has been with the Sheriff's Office for 21 years. This is his third officer-involved shooting. He'll be placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Well, News4Jax reporter Jim Pickett was at the news conference. Coming up at 5, we just looked into the suspect's background and how many times he's been arrested before. That's coming up in a live report at 5. Well, the Nick Foles era in Jacksonville is now official. The new quarterback met with members of the media today. His deal is for 4 years, $88 million. More than $50 million of that is guaranteed. Foles is 30 years old and has never been the undisputed leader like he will be with the Jaguars. Foles was introduced by the Jags today in an afternoon news conference. The new quarterback said this is the perfect place for him, and this is where he wants to be. Well, Foles and his wife are now house shopping, but he's ready to get to work.
The thing that I'm most excited about, honestly, is just getting to know my teammates, being in the locker room, getting to know their personalities. That's why I play this game, is to step in the huddle and play with the guys I love, my brothers. Those are the guys I lean on, and that's what makes a great team. It's what makes a great organization, is that brotherhood, and honestly, that starts with getting to know one another.
Well, coming up at 5, News4Jax reporter Scott Johnson tells us more about Foles, what his family had to say in choosing the Jaguars. The arraignment for 2 former students at Bowles has been postponed again today. The 2 have already been expelled from the school. They're accused of having a conversation regarding potential violence on campus and making napalm bombs. The prosecutor asked for this latest postponement because they're awaiting forensic results on items taken from Grant Shirley and Matthew Guy's dorm room. They're scheduled to be back in court March 28th. Happening right now, the Department of Transportation and city officials are holding a public meeting on the plan to tear down the access ramp on the Hart Bridge. The meeting is being held at FDOT, the Urban Office Training Center. It runs until 6. Now, work is expected to begin within a year. The city is moving forward with a $39 million project to take down part of the elevated ramp and create a 4-lane road at ground level with a new intersection and raised medians. It will also include a bike and pedestrian path. The city says the goal is to improve access to downtown and create a better view of the St. Johns River. Funding for the project is coming from the local, state, and federal governments. Now let's check headlines county by county with Joy. She's here now with stories that are happening in your neighborhood, Joy.
Well, Rob, a 5-year-old child in Brunswick has died after being hit by a car in the parking lot of the Brooklyn Homes housing complex yesterday evening. The Georgia Highway Patrol is helping in the investigation. Brunswick police say the child died in the emergency room of Southeast Georgia Health System. The child's name has not been released. Covering Duval County, the Good Luck Have Fun Bar and Chicago Pizza are officially closed at the Landing. The issue stems from the February decision between Slayman Enterprises and the city to demolish the waterfront property. There is a $1.5 million stipulation made for tenant lease terminations, but the owners of Chicago Pizza told the Business Journal they haven't been contacted about it. The Good Look, Have Fun game bar, you'll remember, was the scene of a mass shooting in August last year where 2 people were killed during a Madden video game tournament. Elizabeth Campbell is working on this story. What other businesses are saying about having to vacate the landing? And Jacksonville Beach is listed as the most affordable beach bargain in the nation. That's according to HomeToGo.com, a vacation rental search. It determined a day at Jax Beach will cost you $62.92. St. Augustine Beach ranked 5th on the list. A day there will cost you about $71. And Fernandina Beach ranked 30th. A day there will cost more than $90. And those are your headlines county by county. Rob, back to you.
All right, thank you, Joy. A bomb cyclone brings high winds and intense snow through parts of the nation. Scott McLean tells us it's causing major headaches for first responders all across the West.
In New Mexico.
And liftoff.
Well, within the last 45 minutes, a rocket lifted off from Russia with 3 American crew members on board. This is a makeup launch after it was scrubbed back in October because of a malfunction. The crew will dock at the International Space Station tonight at 8:15. About a dozen Republican senators joined with Democrats to vote against President Trump's national emergency order for his promised border wall. Republican Senators Mitt Romney and Lamar Alexander are 2 from the GOP to vote on the measure. The vote was 59-41 against. Romney said this is a vote for the Constitution and for the balance of powers that is at its core. President Trump has promised to veto the measure and is sure to be sustained by the House GOP allies. Well, the final group of golfers at the Players teed off about 2 hours ago. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, and Ricky Fowler are some of the well-known golfers taking part in this year's tournament. Now, here's a look at the current leaderboard. Tommy Fleetwood is 7 under. Brian Harman is tied for second at 6 under. McIlroy is 4th at 5 under. All of those guys are finished for the day. This year's winner will get a new trophy. News4JAX reporter Allison Henning has a look at the new prize. And Allison, how are fans taking this change?
Well, I definitely got some mixed reaction from fans out here today. I know we've all become super familiar with the Waterford Crystal over the years, but reporting live from TPC Sawgrass, Allison Henning, Channel 4, the local station.
Well, ahead in the rundown, today is National Pie Day. No, not the kind you eat. Who's now in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest math formula? Plus, we're midway through tax season. How refunds compare to last year this time. And up next, actor Jussie Smollett pleads not guilty to charges about lying to police. What the actor is saying about the night that he says he was attacked.
You're watching Channel 4, the local station. Live with Tarek Miner. The Weather Authority forecast with Rebecca Berry. And breaking news with Sky 4. News4JAX continues.
Making news right now. Empire actor Jussie Smollett pleads not guilty to charges of lying to police about being attacked. He's facing 16 felony counts of disorderly conduct for filing a false report. The Empire star told police in January he was assaulted by 2 men who shouted racist and homophobic slurs at him while placing a noose around his neck. Well, prosecutors say that's not true, and he actually paid 2 brothers $3,500 for personal training sessions and to stage the attack. Smollett is standing by his story. Well, Facebook and Instagram are back online. Facebook blamed a massive outage on a severe server configuration change. Facebook says it resolved the issue. Millions of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp accounts were impacted. Frustrated users flocked to Twitter to complain about the outage. Hashtag Facebook down was trending for quite a while on Wednesday. Well, today is National Pie Day. What better way to celebrate than by setting a world record regarding the infamously long number? A Google employee based in Osaka, Japan, recently set a Guinness record for calculating pi to the most number of digits. If you remember back in math class, pi is an irrational number that starts at 3.4 and continues infinitely without repetition. Well, it took the employee 4 months and 25 Google Cloud virtual machines to calculate pi to more than, get this, 31 trillion digits.
With our 5 powerful radar sweeps, you'll know exactly what time big weather will hit. Channel 4 is the weather authority.
I can't even count that high, but I can keep up with the weather and the different degrees.
And female meteorologists use Pi Day to wear purple to start the conversation about women in STEM careers, because women in STEM careers make about 30% more than their counterparts that are in non-science, technology, engineering, and math careers.
Good information to know. I didn't get the memo.
You didn't, but it's okay.
All right.
It's beautiful out there, whether you're celebrating Pi Day by eating actual pie. It's every hour on V101.5.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Well, tax refunds are ticking up after a slow start. Ahead, the average refund most people are getting halfway through the tax season.
News 4 Jax, covering the big local stories from your neighborhood.
Well, we are halfway through the tax season and refund amounts are starting to increase. They're up about 1% from this time last year. That's far different from the kickoff on January 28th, where refunds were down nearly 9%. Maribel Aber has the details.
Change the withholding on your W-4 forms now.
And don't forget, the deadline for filing taxes is April 15th. Jacksonville-based Steinmart showed growth in 2018. The company didn't lose as much money as it did in the previous year. Now, according to the Jacksonville Business Journal, the company had a net loss of $6 million for 2018. In 2017, the company lost more than $31 million. Steinmart's CEO told the Journal the company is focused on inventory productivity, which led to strong expense control. And Steinmart will build on that plan in 2019. A report from WalletHub.com says Florida has the 7th lowest tax rate in the country. WalletHub looked at each state using local and state tax rates. Floridians don't pay a tax on cars or a tax on income. Overall, about 8.5% of a median household's income in Florida is spent on taxes. Illinois, on the other hand, was the most taxed state, with nearly 15% of the income going to taxes. Starting in April, Verizon will start offering 5G service in parts of Chicago and Minneapolis. The service will be free for the first 3 months. After that, it will cost customers $10 a month. The 5G service will only work on Verizon's Moto Z3 device, and it will require an attachment that snaps onto the phone. Verizon plans to extend 5G coverage to even more cities by the end of the year. Well, up next, the biggest outbreak of butterflies in 50 years. Why they're swarming to one particular area in America. That story's after the break. It is time now to check in with Tom over in Studio A to see what's coming up all new at 5. Tom?
Rob, we continue to cover the story that is the talk of the town. New Jaguars quarterback Nick Foles is now house hunting here in Jacksonville. Today, he and his wife Tori came to TIAA Bank Field and held up these new number 7 jerseys, what Foles says he is most excited about. And in the midst of the college admission scandal, Consumer Reports is releasing its smart strategies on how to maximize your students' chances of getting a scholarship the right way. These stories and more, Rob, starting at 5.
All right, thank you, Tom. Now we'll look at what's coming up next on Inside Edition.
Edition right after the news.
Well, it's a glorious time of year in Southern California, the wildflower super bloom. The super bloom is not only filling the desert with eye-popping displays of color, it's also providing a feast for swarms of painted lady butterflies. A professor at UC Davis, who's studied the butterflies for 50 years now, says this is the biggest outbreak since 2005. In North America, painted butterflies spend the winter around the U.S.-Mexico border and fly north in the spring. Their descendants travel back south in the fall. They are pretty, but doesn't that look like the monarch butterfly? But I don't know. I'm not a butterfly expert,
No.
but I am an expert on many other things.
Yes, so many other things. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us.
Well, thanks for watching News for Jax at 4. We'll be back in 30 minutes with more news and weather.
Inside Edition is next.